We can start with that, Darian. How was Father's Day for you? What'd you do? Did you get into it?
Father's Day was amazing.
Oh,
I mean,
Father's Day.
First and foremost, yeah. Well, I told my wife, look, just don't bother me. Let me be. You guys go, you take the kids, you get out of the house, you do whatever you want to do. Just leave me alone. Don't say anything to me. Just let me have my one day of the year. Because even on my birthday, she forces me to, be involved with all these birthday festivities and cake and all this stuff. So this is the only day of the year where I'm able to say, leave me alone and don't bother me. And she grants me my wish. So thank you, baby, for leaving me alone and giving me my Father's Day.
So what did you do? Just sat on the couch, stared at the wall, listened to some old records?
You know what? I turned on YouTube. I caught up because I'm not able to really watch and keep up on, the NFL mini camps and things like that. So I was able to pretty much keep up with every team, see what's going on. Just catch up on sports. I played a little bit of video games with my brothers because we all think alike. We just want to be left alone on Father's Day. So it was a good day for us.
That's good.
I thought you were
going to say that you were watching old game tape of when you played and went back, got a bottle of wine and got all nostalgic on us. But Riders are 2-0. Hey, that Hamlet, like Maz and I talked about earlier, not the prettiest win, but they don't grade that.
Care.
Yeah, don't care. Those are games that in the past Rider teams would go in and they'd lose that game.
We'd lose.
Exactly. It doesn't matter how you get it. A W's a W. And when you're going into a hostile territory like Hamilton, they're pissed off about what happened last week in Calgary. Home opener for those guys. They're fired up and they're trying to put on a show for their home fans and get in the win column. So, for the Riders to go into that stadium, which is always a tough place to play, and get it done and we can talk about the yardage. We can talk about everything we didn't like, but let's make sure we focus on the fact that it's hard to go on the road and get wins. It's definitely hard to go across the country and get a win. And, with Milligan and AJ Ouellette suffering injuries and the training staff having to fly across the country and making sure those guys were healthy. And you could see how they both made huge plays in that game, game-changing plays, for them to be able to come back. Because most of the time when you come out of the game with an injury, you usually don't play the next week, right? So for those guys to be able to recover and come in and make huge plays for the team on the road, hats off to that training staff for getting them ready.
So, Darian, outside of Kenny Lawler, what kind of defense or what was the defense doing to Bo Levi Mitchell to kind of limit him everywhere else besides Lawler? What did you see?
Well, you can see Bo had happy feet. I think we talked about it last week. How do you attack Bo? Do you sit back and just rush 3 or 4 and let your DBs play, or do you blitz and, make him move around the pocket or make him uncomfortable? And I think the Riders did it, and Coach Mace did a great job of just mixing that up, having a solid dosage of blitzing along with sitting back and making sure you're sitting covered. So good job of mixing it up. And I keep going back to what he said about Coach Stubler. Don't tell me about how many yards a quarterback threw for or how many yards we gave up. Did we win or lose? And, I like that game plan going in.
We're going to we had Mark Mueller on the coaches show earlier. We're going to replay that later in this hour. One thing we did ask was Kadeem Carey in the lineup. Didn't play a lot. I asked him, did he play as much, less, more than you thought? And then he just said, a veteran guy. He's been in that system, right? So if you're wearing the jersey, you're going to play in the game. Were you surprised that he played? And I think, what did he get, 4 carries?
Yeah, 4 carries, 26 yards.
I think that for a running back, it's pretty easy to transition over to a new system or, get back familiar with the system you've been in before. I think that his snaps were really limited because, when it comes to pass protection on the road, the communication isn't there. You can't really hear. You don't want to put Trevor in situations where he may miss a blitz or there may be some lack of communication there and he may make a mistake. So good job of just getting him in in spurts and getting him some carries, getting his feet wet, and giving AJ Olette a blow, which he's going to need, because I think that going forward, you're going to see he showed a tremendous burst, and you're going to see a lot more of him going forward if he's going to be running the ball like that.
Keyshawn Johnson had his coming out party. What did he have? Like 8 catches and 128 something yards or whatever. That was his best game as a rider. How good is that when you're a quarterback and you can light up a guy to have a career game? That's going to be a good double feeling, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, you can just see Keyshawn getting settled into the offense, the chemistry he's building with Trevor. And, a lot of these passes that he caught was in zone coverage. So he's doing a good job of recognizing defenses, knowing when to settle down, playing with tempo, playing with the right, a lot of young guys, they come into the game and they're playing at full speed all the time. And every route doesn't require you to be running full speed. So you can see him adjusting his tempo, adjusting how he attacks the leverage of the DBs. You can see these highlights here. He's just sitting down in zone right in front of the DBs behind the linebackers. And that just shows you his growth over time and the chemistry he's building with Trevor.
You talk about that zone, and we're watching those highlights there, and there's the look off plays, right, where he looks off, and then then he goes to the open guy, which is textbook. The other thing, Darian, it seems like you talk about him, reading the defenses, but Trevor Harris, like when he's on, and not to just sit here and pump tires, but can that guy read defenses?
This is Trevor, man. Trevor is a career 70% passer. So 7 out of 10 passes are going to be complete. You can't fool him. He knows what's going on. He's seen every look. He's been coached by some of the best in the game. He's backed up, in my opinion, one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks ever in CFL history, and Ricky Ray. So, he's learned the tutelage he's had from Scott Milenovich and Ricky Ray has just prepared him for these times. So you can't confuse him. The best thing you can do is try to challenge the receivers and try to throw him off of his timing and maybe treat him like Bo Levi. But other than that, man, he's going to pick you apart. He's going to have a completion percentage at a high clip. And this is just what Trevor does.
One thing that I thought was a nice positive for the Rider offense, anytime they went to Dante Myers, he would come up clutch with a catch. Where last year it seemed if Jarrett Stearns was in there at times and they would go to him when they really needed it, and Stearns was inconsistent at best at times. Maybe that's why he's not with the club anymore. But Dante Myers earning the trust of the quarterback when they need him to get yards or get a first down, he was getting it. And that one catch where he had the toe drag, and I'm like, all right, everything we saw in this kid last year, he's taken it to the next level.
Yeah, you can just see the same thing with Keyshawn. I mean, these guys are just getting comfortable. Whenever you can have the same offense for 2 years in a row, you have the same quarterback, you have everything around you that's familiar. Now you can just focus on your job, focus on what you need to do. And you can see that from Dante Myers, and you can see him being able to step in and make huge plays. And Trevor trusts him. Some of those throws, especially the one to the sideline, Trevor threw it before he broke. He wasn't even looking back. So just that timing shows you the trust and the ability that he has of just trusting the fact that Dante is going to be in the right spot. So that just all comes from just being together and over time.
I don't know why, but I get a feeling. There's 2 parts to this. I don't know if Tommy Stevens will be stopped on short yardage this year. Like at 6'5" and how big he is, and like I want to be down at field level to watch one of those. I'm like, is it physically impossible to stop him unless he stumbles or something? But the thing is, Darian, when I watched him do it against Hamilton, I almost feel like he's either going to break one again soon, or they're going to go to something that like not trickery-ish, where it's going to be early in the game, and they're going to say, nope, let him sling. I don't know why I'm getting that feeling.
No, you're 100% correct. You best believe there's a package where he'll fake the quarterback sneak and, a guy on the edge will leak out into a route, a deep route. That's going to happen, and it'll be a big play. And he's also going to break one. He almost broke one this past weekend.
Yeah.
He's getting 5, 6, 7 yards like a running back on some of these quarterback sneaks. So he's a weapon, man. And shout out to J.O. for just noticing that you need a guy that can come in and get first downs, especially with a veteran quarterback. You need a guy like this because he's almost 100%. And, that's unheard of.
So the game inside the game, I always thought, even though it was 5 points in the win, the kicking game didn't do us any favors, and the text line is melting down today, and the online and the blog. You know what it's like, Darian.
Yeah.
Sure, he misses 3 and a convert, but we win. A few years ago, we'd hit 6 field goals and lose. I'm okay. Yeah. Lauther will right it, but also, if they are going to bring in somebody to challenge him, a CIS kid that has no experience, no. I think Boris Beatty is out there. Somebody like that actually has game experience in the CFL, because everyone's clamoring for somebody to be brought in to push him in practice to make him better. Because competition, it does. And you guys have always said it, makes you better.
Yeah. Look, I think Brett had a game like this last year where he was 0 for 4. It might have been in Hamilton. And the thing about Hamilton and that stadium, and if you've never been there, that wind swirls all the time, right? It'll be one flag on the right upright that's blowing, and then the other one isn't moving at all. That wind is tricky. And when he had a bad game last year, I think he came back and he made, some crazy number in a row after that. So don't even think about letting this guy go. He's money. He's money when it's clutch time. Hamilton has always been a tough place to kick. I don't care who you are. And, I wouldn't dare think about letting Brett go. He's a key piece of this team. He's a vet. And when you need him in the clutch, trust me, he'll be ready.
Somebody on the text line, Maz, just moments ago said, bring in Dean Faithful. And I was like, is that name made up? So I had to go look him up.
He kicked. I believe he kicked with the Elks the past couple of years, and I think he got an off-season look somewhere in the NFL.
He's a big arena football guy. So
look, guys, this is one game. Please don't panic. I mean, I've thrown 5 picks in a game, and
what?
I think I led the league in picks one year, and we went to the Grey Cup. So just we can't base all of this on one game. Let's get deeper in the season. If he starts missing some meaningful kicks, some home kicks, things that game winners, things of that magnitude, then I could see J.O. entertaining that. But other than that, leave Brett alone. He's money.
That still holds the record for the most angry text. Get rid of Durant is that game that you just talked about. So it's in the record books.
Who was it against? Was it against BC? Was it Ryan Phillips?
It probably was. Going against Ryan Phillips, Corey Banks, Dante Marsh, and those guys. It probably was.
It is Double Talk with Darian for Campbell Safety Consulting. Another thing we talked to Mueller about, Darian, is you got Hamilton. You're not rolling back into town until early in the morning on Sunday. Then you're kind of, and those plane rides aren't comfortable because it's just a WestJet plane. It's not like it's, relaxed. So those guys are coming back banged up, bruised, day out, and then you're back on the Bird on Thursday to go back out to Toronto. This is a grindy week.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they're doing that. I would have thought that they would have stayed out east the entire time, especially with, this will be only 2 times in Ontario. You would think that they would stay for the week, but that's just a part of the game, man. You can't control the schedule. All you can do is just prepare yourself to play, and that's what you get paid to do. So they'll handle it like professionals. Coach Mace, he's played. He understands the grind, the late night flights, the flights across the country. He understands how that goes. I'm sure he'll give the guys a day off physically where you can just come in and watch film and just prepare yourself mentally with the game plan. So I trust Coach Mace in this instance that his playing experience will play a big factor in this with making sure the guys are healthy.
If there's one advantage to playing Toronto in week 3, their inconsistency at quarterback could be an advantage for the Riders. On that game, on Saturday before the Rider game. The Stamps looked good. The Argos didn't do themselves any favors. What are you seeing or not seeing in Toronto on that offense that just has them not clicking? DeMonte Coxey is incredibly good. That guy, put him aside, he's good. Everything else.
You know what? They're the defending champs. And, they have a big target on them, right? And, teams are fired up to play against Toronto. And not only that, I mean, they lost to Montreal and Calgary. These are two good football teams. So I think they'll be ready to play. I won't sit here and say that Arbuckle isn't the answer because he's been playing solid football. I mean, he's been turning the ball over more than he usually has in the past. But, I still like Toronto. I think Coach Dinwiddie is one of the best coaches in the league, and he'll have those guys ready. But, you can't just take anything away from the two teams that they've lost to. They've lost to a fired-up Calgary team with a new quarterback that's just hungry to prove himself. And then Montreal is in my opinion, the best team in the league besides Saskatchewan. So it's two tough opponents that they lost to. So I wouldn't say that they're down right now. I would just say that they lost to two good football teams.
We got a couple more here before we let you go. My last one. How was that going to be in the locker room? How did you deal with it? Where you got Kadeem Carey just got chopped by Toronto going back in. The players, is it like hockey where the players want to play a little bit harder, want to make sure you get this W?
Yeah, I think so, especially if he's come into the locker room and shown that he's one of the guys, right? Yeah. Sometimes you get a guy that comes in from another team or has been released and he's a loner, he's to himself, and you don't develop that early bond with him. But if he comes in that locker room and he's one of the guys and the guys accept him right away, then they're going to want to go and do everything they can to help him show Toronto that they made a mistake. And don't forget, AJ Ouellette came from Toronto as well. So that's two running backs that probably have a little chip on their shoulder going back to Toronto this week and want to show the Argos organization that they made a mistake by letting them go.
All right. For Father's Day yesterday, you said your dream and you got your wish was just to be left alone. And then you went down a YouTube rabbit hole and you were checking out NFL minicamps. Is there any video that you watched yesterday where you can somehow make a prediction that the Dallas Cowboys, because from what you saw, will win the Super Bowl this year?
Not at all. Not at all, man.
Go. Oh no.
They won't even make it out of that division. I'll tell you that.
There was no Brian Schottenheimer video that you watched yesterday that gave you confidence that the Cowboys and the streak will be ended?
No, not at all. I mean, look at the Eagles and look at what Saquon said. Saquon said he's entering his prime, he feels like, after 30. So when a guy says that, and that means he's feeling really good with his body. And then, with the Commanders adding Deebo Samuel to that squad, that makes them even more explosive. So when I look at Dallas's roster, I just don't see them having enough talent not only not to make the Super Bowl, but to even be at the top of that division. So they're out of it. But mainly, I'm just shocked at how the veterans in Cleveland have just embraced Shedeur Sanders. I mean, I'm watching the behind the scenes, and he's mic'd up, and Njoku, who's their number one offensive option, is just over to the side, talking with him, laughing with him. You don't see that happen from your best offensive weapon talking to a rookie. Not only a rookie, but a 5th round pick rookie. You just never see that. So the way the Cleveland Browns are embracing Shedeur Sanders just speaks volume. And don't be surprised if he's QB1 on week 1.
Whoa, easy. Whoa. Save this tape.
Okay,
Darian.
If Darian's throwing that out there, what are you buying Aaron Rodgers for a wedding gift? Holy smokes, man. Like, wow.
Darian's in
I want to be the first to put that out there, right? I want to be the first to put that out there so we can come back to June and say, when that announcement is made in September, we're going to come back to June and say Darian said that back in June.
Hey, let me know what your bookie guy wants. I want to put some action down on that he isn't Darian.
I need to check that out.
I'll Venmo or whatever you some cash tonight if you can get that going for me on that guy. Yeah. All right, man. Have a good week, and we'll see how it shakes down. We'll catch up Monday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.